Copy. And yes. Okay, we have audio. We are director. That link is sent out. Okay. Hi, Kiki. Hi, Kiki. Come here, baby. Hello. Hello. Okay. All right, we are back again with Kiki. Kiki is an elderly miniature Schnauzer, and she's gonna get a full haircut today. We're gonna shave her back in a number 7 blade. We're gonna grow out, just trim up her skirt, and then we're gonna give her what's called a pet face, where underneath her eyes is short and it separates the beard from the eyebrows, but the eyebrows are gonna be long and pointy, the beard is gonna stay nice and long. If you don't know me, my name's AJ. I've been a pet groomer for 15 years, but I've been working with dogs since I was about 8 years old, when I was bathing them in my mom's shop that she ran out of our house. So we've been doing this a long time, we've got a lot of experience, and we're gonna hopefully teach you some lessons and show you how I work with elderly dogs. Kiki recently had an episode of with her liver. She has liver failure. It's being monitored and treated the best as they can. She had a bad episode maybe a couple months ago, and several vets told her owner to put her down. And it's a miracle that she's still around, kicking. She did all sorts of interventions with her food, and she's just doing great. So we're gonna take it nice and slow, keep things nice and calm for Kiki. If she has any really difficult parts or really challenging parts for her, we'll just skip it if we have to. We're gonna keep it nice and calm. But Kiki does really good for the grooming process, so I don't think we'll have to skip anything. But let's see how it goes. We're gonna go ahead and start with her nails. And see this foot? Kiki does not have a dew claw on this foot, and her nails are black, which makes it a little bit more difficult to know where to start cutting. The first thing that I do is I look for a hollow hook on the end of the nail, and that gives me an idea of how far I can cut initially. And then once I've made that initial cut, I start looking at the pulp in the center of the nail, which when you're near the edge or the outside is a white flaky substance, the pulp. And once you get closer to the blood supply, it gets moist and dark in the center of the nail. Once I see that moist, dark circle in the center of the nail, I know that I'm almost to the blood supply and I can stop cutting. Good girl, Kiki. That foot's all done now. Wait. Hang on, baby girl. Wait. Good. What I worry about the most when Kiki is pulling on her leg is her actually falling. Because she's elderly, she doesn't have as much strength in, what are they called? Her muscles still have strength, her main big muscles, but I'm trying to blank on what it's called, but the muscles that do the balancing that are not the main muscles, so not the thigh muscles or the hip or the glute muscles, but the connective and what are they called? There's a term when you're working out, and it's all the muscles that help you balance the weights as you're lifting. I'm drawing a blank on what they're called right now, but those muscles get weak when the dogs get older, and so they don't have the same level of balance. They get weak in that area. So when she kicks, what I'm concerned with is her actually falling over. So I'm trying to get her to not do that, mostly because I don't want her to fall. Especially if she were to fall near the edge of the table, that could be really bad. Then she could potentially fall all the way off, and that's never good. But the chances of it causing an injury are way higher when they're elderly like this. So I'm trying to keep her away from the edge, and I'm trying to keep her on her feet and balanced. Okay. Good job. Just a few more nails. If you were cutting your own dog's nails at home and you want a more detailed description of what I was describing on her first foot, I have a video titled Cutting Dog Nails Perfect Every Time. You can check that out. It's on my YouTube channel, and it gives you a good description of what you're looking for and how to know when you're done cutting the dog's nails. Okay, we're all done, Kiki. Next step is going to be some of our 10 work. I'll put my number 10 blade on, and I'm going to shave the inside of her ears first. Hang on, Kiki. Being a little wiggly. Tell me she doesn't really want this clipper to be touching the inside of her ear. Okay. Hold still. Hold still. Wait. Stay here. Okay, left ear's all done. I'm trying to get all of the hair that's on the outside of the ear shaved, or I apologize, on the inside of the ear, but outside of the ear canal. Because in a moment I'm going to pluck her ears, And what I don't want to do is I don't want to pluck any of the hair that's growing outside of the ear canal, but on the inside of the ear. Because I can shave those hairs. We shouldn't pluck hairs that we can shave, but I need to get the hairs out and I need to get them to stop blocking her ear from light and air getting inside there, and that will help prevent yeast infections or ear infections. She's being a little wiggle worm. She says, I don't want you shaving inside my ear, AJ. And I'm just politely asking if I can keep doing it. She's being pretty polite in the way that she's telling me she doesn't want to do this. She's just pulling her head away. She's not snapping, she's not growling. So it's a very polite way of her communicating to me that she doesn't like it. Okay, now that the inside of the ears are all shaved, I'm going to pluck out the hairs that are inside of the ear canal. Let's see how she tolerates this. Her left ear is a little dirty. There's a bit of wax on the hairs that are right here. And she has a lot of hair in here. Hang on. I'm going to try to grab a smaller piece. That first bunch of hairs that I grabbed was a little bit too much. Too many hairs are trying to come out at once. So I didn't want to release. Okay. I know. It's important to get these hairs out because they're blocking all the light, all the air, and they're trapping moisture inside the ear. And that's the perfect recipe for yeast to build up and cause an infection. Okay. Kiki is a little uncomfortable. She hasn't wanted me to really touch her ear in the first place, and so this is definitely asking a lot more out of her, because I'm actually plucking the hairs that are inside of her ear. It's a little uncomfortable. Unfortunately, we have to do it. Wait, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, she's not liking this, wiggling all over the place. Makes it quite difficult. Hang on, Kiki. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, she really needs this. She has so much hair growing inside of her ears. Almost there, baby. And if you think it's a little gross that I'm wiping the waxy, dirty hair on her body, I agree. It is gross. But I'm going to wash off her body. And I would never do this after the bath. I would never wipe this waxy ear hair on her body after the bath, because then it would go home with her. Right now, it's only a little's getting on her, and then I'm going to wash all of it off really well. Hang on. Hang on, Kiki. It's okay, baby. Wait. Now the thought has crossed my mind of, is this pushing Kiki too much? Where she's elderly, she's having different issues with her health. Am I pushing her too far? And what I am looking for is signs of distress. Right now, she's uncomfortable. She's trying to avoid what I'm doing, but she's calming back down after every time that I do it, and she's letting me continue to touch her ear. So she's not in any sign, I don't see any signs of distress. Right now it's only discomfort, maybe a little bit of irritation with me, where she's getting a little irritated with me, wants me to stop doing what I'm doing, but I don't see any signs of distress. If she were to start panicking more intensely, well, if she were to actually start panicking, that would be a sign of distress, and at that point I would stop doing what I'm doing. But right now, I don't see any sort of panic. I just see her not wanting this done. And she's arguing with me a little bit, tugging away, but none of it's too intense. Okay. Okay. I know. Hang on, little worm. Hang on, little worm. So, she's now being pretty reactive just to me touching the hairs in her ear. So I'm going to do a little bit of desensitizing. I'm just going to stick my finger in here. I can't hold the hemostats. I can't desensitize with the hemostats very well, but what I'm doing is just touching the part where she's being reactive, and I'm going to keep doing it until she stops reacting to the stimulus. She's being pretty good now, where it's no longer about me touching it that's getting her to react. So let's grab the hemostats again and see if she'll be a little bit better. Do the same thing. I'm just going to touch the hemostats to the outside of her ear. It's okay. And it's okay. Just try to desensitize, get her to calm down and let me do this. Good. Fortunately, I wasn't able to pluck anything on that first. Once I was able to grab the hair. Hang on. Good girl. Good girl. Hold still. Hold still. Good girl. Wait. Wait. Alright. 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 Tough stuff. It's tough stuff. Thank you. Try not to push on her neck. It seemed like when I had a finger underneath her neck, when that happened, she was trying to pull away. So I'll try to avoid that. Let's see. How can I hold her a little bit better? A little bit more. Hang on. So she's being real wiggly on this side, and I'm not able to get it with the hemostats. So I'm going to grab some ear powder, and I'll use my fingers to try to get some of this hair out. Hard with my fingers to get small chunks of the hair. It's all bunched up so much. Man, it'd be so much easier if I could just get it with my hemos. Having a really hard time getting small chunks, and so it's just kind of pulling on all the hair in her ear, and it's not working very well. Oh, still. Making good progress now. Stay. Let's see, maybe I can hold her muscle. Hold still. Hold still. Good. She doesn't like her muzzle held. Good girl. Good job. Stay. Almost there. Almost there. Okay. One more spot. Get this one last spot. There we go. Wait. Almost got this spot. We'll call it good. Hang on. Hang. Wait. Good. Okay. Okay, Kiki. You did it. You did it. All right. Kiki's making me a tiny bit worried because she keeps walking right to the edge. So I'm keeping one hand on this leash, make sure that she doesn't walk off the edge. Okay, now we're ready to shave her feet. Wait, come on. Stay here. Stay here. Good girl. Stay. Hold still, Kiki. Wait, wait. So I am shaving the underside of between her toes to try and help prevent Kiki from getting foxtails and burrs stuck between her toes when she goes on hikes and stuff in the mountains. I don't normally do this unless it's requested. It's almost like what I do on poodle feet, or we call it clean feet, where we shave between all the toes. I'm doing a little bit of that, or just the underside instead of the whole foot, to help keep her feet clean. Kiki's being pretty wiggly today. She would rather not have me do some of the things that I'm asking her to do. Okay. Okay, that foot's looking good. The right 2 feet are all done, and we'll get the left 2 feet done. I pulled a foxtail out of her foot just now, her fur. It was not in her foot, but it was stuck in the fur in her paw pad. They're a really big problem, at least here in Utah. Those foxtails, they get stuck in the fur, and they will oftentimes burrow into the dog's skin, and it's really sad. You have to catch it as the dog's owner. It's sometimes the only way that those get out is from us actually pulling them out of their fur. And I've seen a lot of cases where the foxtails burrow all the way into the skin, then they have to go to the vet to have it removed by the vet. I've had it happen to one of my dogs once, and it sucks. And you feel like you're a bad owner, but they're so hard to see, and sometimes they get into the smallest places, like between the dog's toes. And if you're not looking in between their toes, you'll never find them. Sometimes even when you are looking between the toes, you still don't find them, and they are there. Okay. Okay. Another foxtail. Just in the fur, not stuck in the skin. Kiki is spinning her butt away from me more and more and more and getting closer to that edge. So I'll try to bring it back. Hopefully she'll stay here, but she might do it again. 6. She's starting to do it again. She's got a couple more steps before she's too close to the edge. And what will often happen, a young healthy dog, they might step a foot off the edge and they'll catch themselves and they won't actually fall. But these older dogs oftentimes are not strong enough that if they do step that foot off, their whole back end will tumble off, and then they're scrambling to try to stay on the table, and that can be bad. So anytime a dog starts to step close to the edge, like right now, her front foot is close to the edge. It makes me uncomfortable, so I'll try to pull it back. Unfortunately, Kiki wants to really be near the edge of the table, and she probably doesn't feel like it's a problem. She just wants to stand next to the edge. But I think it's a problem, so I'm not going to let her do it. Okay. Her legs and feet are all done. Let's go ahead and shave her sani. Grab a different blade that's not as warm. Pull Kiki away from the edge again. And now I'm going to shave her sani and her belly. Get it nice and clean. She has a nice little potty path, so the fur won't get pee on it. Okay, I'll pick up the other leg and get the other side of her belly done. Put this foot back underneath her. That way she's nice and stable. Okay, now I'll shave her bum. There we go. She's reacting really strongly when the clipper touches her butt. just sprays all around it. That way she doesn't plop her butt down so hard. Goodness. Come on, big girl. Right on, I found the puppy jujitsu move that I needed. I had to put my arm underneath so she couldn't sit, and I had to lift her tail at the same time. If I hold under her belly, she clamps her tail down. If I lift up her tail, she sits and plops her butt down. So that is the puppy jujitsu move of the day. I'm gonna call it the, I don't know what to call it. If anybody has any ideas, let me know in the comments. The under the belly tail lift. Puppy jujitsu. Okay, her beard has some tangles in it. This one feels pretty tight. I might have to cut it out. Let's take a good look at it. Cheeks have some little ones. I think they'll brush out. Some bigger ones on this side. Problem is Kiki does not like her face being brushed. Yeah, this is a big one. We're gonna have to cut this one out. She's got two big ones. So I have to cut those. I know Kiki well enough that she will not let me brush out a mat this big. Hopefully she'll let me get the other ones brushed out. Stay. So let's see. I don't know, you guys probably can't see it over here, but let's show you. That's a big mat. That's a mat I'm not willing to brush out. Okay, let's see. There was one more. Hey, easy. Easy. So she's reacting really strongly to me touching some of the hairs around her mouth. And what she was doing is opening and closing her mouth really quickly. I don't know, if I'm completely honest, I don't know what that was. I don't think that's her giving me a warning. I think it's just her reacting to where she doesn't want it, so she's kind of pulling away. But she did a real quick open and close the mouth, which is a little scary when you're touching all around the mouth. Kiki's usually pretty good, but dogs will bite if they don't want something and you insist on doing it. So we're gonna try to brush out her beard now. See if we can get these tangles out. She's gonna take it nice and slow. I used that spray as a leave-in conditioner and a detangling spray. So it helps lubricate the tangles and helps them separate. And she keeps doing that little mouth thing. I think it's probably like she's just reacting. She's probably not even doing it consciously. But when I approach her mouth, sometimes she'll open and close really quickly. I'm trying to just slow it down so she doesn't do that. Yeah, it's whenever I touch the hairs on her lips, if I'm moving too quickly, then she reacts like that. It's okay. Okay. Hang on. Good. We'll spray underneath her chin. She is being quite reactive. Randomly, when the brush touches her beard, it's kind of the same thing with her ears. She would just twitch as soon as she got touched. So she's telling me that she'd rather not do this, but she's not doing too much else. You saw her pick up her paw right there. That's another form of trying to get my hands and the brush away from her face. So she's giving me signs, telling me that she doesn't want me to do this. And if I was to be forceful and just try to squeeze her mouth really hard and hold on to her and rush through this process, she would probably escalate. And she might resort to snapping at me, scratching really hard, pulling away really hard. And I imagine she would eventually bite me if I didn't listen to any of the things that she was telling me. But I'm listening, I'm working slowly. Hang on. I'm waiting until she, holds still for a second, and then I keep working. And see right there, she lifted her lips just a little bit. She's just telling me she doesn't like this, she doesn't want me to do it. Hang on. I know. All right. She's got another big tangle in the bottom of her beard, and she's getting really reactive, so I'm going to cut this mat out as well. She's actually got two of them right here. One is a chunk of food that has turned into a little dreadlock. Hang on. The other one is actually much bigger. It's just tangled up hair. Hang on. Come here. Let me see. This one, I don't think I need to cut the whole mat out. It's not super tight. It's a lot of hairs that are a little tangled. So I'll try to split this mat. I don't know if she's going to let me though. Okay. Good girl. There we go. Now it's coming out. Hang on, Kiki. You can hear that scratchy sound that it's making as the brush is actually making contact with a mat that's on the underside of her chin. There's nothing out here. It's quiet, but underneath, see, it got one of the mats out right there. Hang. Hang. Wait, good girl. Almost there. She wants me to stop. She's getting a little fed up with it. I'm so close to having her beard brushed out. I'm trying to just work slow, keep going. Okay. I think I got it. Yep, there's another chunk of hair. That's one. And that was another. So now, see if my comb will run through it. The comb will get stuck on any mats. So if there's any mats in here, the comb won't go through. But it looks like we're good. Okay, excellent. All right, we are done with our rough-in. We're now going to head to the back and give her a bath. Give me just a few moments and I'll get that camera on for you guys and we'll give Kiki a bath. Hang on, Kiki. Hang on. I know. Hey, girl. Hey, Kiki. Okay, I'm going to get the water warmed up first. Go ahead and turn on this bathing system. This bathing system uses high pressure water to mix the soap for me. So I'm going to express her anal glands. This is an external anal gland expression, not internal. And after that's done, I will use the bathing system to wash off her body. I'll use that high pressure system on the body, legs, feet, but I don't want to use that high pressure on her face. I want to avoid getting water in her ears, eyes, and her nose, and I want to avoid soap getting in all those same areas. So let's go ahead and get started with her glands, and then we'll wash her body. Only a tiny bit in her glands, just like her brothers. The dog I did earlier this morning, Charles, is her brother, and both of their glands are basically empty. Only a tiny bit came out. All right, let's go ahead and wash her body. her vulva was extra, just a little extra dirty, so I'm gonna wash it by hand, a little extra just to make sure that it gets clean. And her butt was kind of the same story. There was a few crusties on it, so I'm going to wash those areas by hand just to make sure that they get really clean. I know, baby, I'm sorry. It's uncomfortable. Gotta get it clean. Okay. Go ahead and turn off the bathing system, get the soap out of the line. Turn the water pressure down, and now I can get her face wet. And again, I'm going to try to avoid getting water in her ears and in her nose. Sit, stay, wait. Hang on, Kiki, come on. Oh my goodness, you're a wiggle worm. I could not get the top of her nose wet. I was just trying to use my thumb, and every time I went for it, she pulled her head away. Wiggle worm. Okay, now we're going to use this soap, and I'm going to apply it onto her head, and I'm going to lather it in. Any spot that doesn't lather up really well, I'm going to add more soap, and I'm going to make sure that it all lathers up really well, and that's how I know that she's actually clean. Now, water was okay to get in her eyes at that low pressure, but I want to avoid soap getting in her eyes as much as I can. If I notice her start squinting one of her eyes, then there's a really good chance that there is soap in that eye, and I should rinse it out immediately. She has a few crusty eye boogers in her eyebrow that I'm trying to wash out and scrape out. And I'll do the same thing under her eye. That's where the majority of the eye boogers are going to be, right here in the corner of the eye on this underside. And we'll just keep lathering everything up, scrubbing. Hang on. Right. And I like to lather up around the muzzle and the mouth last, because the dogs will usually start licking, and Kiki is not licking very much, but most dogs will lick their lips right here, and they will start pulling soap into their mouth. And we want to avoid soap getting in the mouth, so what I do is I hold the muzzle closed with my left hand, and I scrub with my right. And then I will rinse off the mouth before letting go of the muzzle to try and avoid the dog getting any of that soap in their mouth if I can. Okay. Okay, it's lathering up quite nicely now. I'm just going to make sure underneath the chin, bottom of the lips, all gets scrubbed real good. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse her mouth. Wait. Hold still. Hold still. We'll go ahead and rinse her eyes as well right here. I was doing my best to avoid getting water in her nose, but she keeps jerking her face around, and so a couple times the water has run over her nose, like right there. Every time that happens, what I'm doing is I'm pausing and I'm listening to see if she inhaled any of it. She's done really good so far. The few times that the water has run over her nose, she didn't inhale it. She was exhaling or she wasn't breathing in at the moment. That's okay. If they do inhale the water, I'll pause, I'll stop completely and give them a moment to get it out of their nose. And there's nothing else I can really do. If she inhales water, then it's a problem. But if they'll usually start, they won't listen. They'll move around more and they'll panic more easily if they have water that they're trying to get out of their nose. So if that does happen, I'll always pause, slow down, and just take a little break. The amount of time that I've been talking now is usually enough for them to have cleared it, and then I can continue rinsing her face. Okay, now that she is all rinsed off, I'm going to start squeezing out all the excess water. And as I'm doing this, I'm checking for any slippery, sudsy spots. If I feel any, I'll check my hands and see if there's any bubbles on my hand. That lets me know that there's still soap on her body and I need to rinse it off again. She feels good to me. I'm not feeling any slippery, sudsy spots. Okay, and then we're good to go. Oh, good shake. Good shake. Get that water off. Okay, go ahead and grab a towel. And I'm going to continue to towel dry her in this tub. And I'm going to use a dry part of the towel and rub it on her until the towel is not soaking up any more water or the towel is completely soaked. And then I'll grab another towel to eliminate or to remove as much of the water as I can. The towel does a really fast job of soaking up water, but it can only soak up so much. And after it's soaked up everything it can, that's when I'll head over there and blow dry her. Hang on. Hang on, little girl. Okay. Almost there. Okay. So I have rubbed every part of her body. The towel still has a couple dry spots on it. I'm just going to double check. Take the dry spot, rub over her entire body one more time. Okay, she's feeling pretty good to me, so I'll go ahead and toss this towel in the washing machine. See if this leash, I might have this this grooming arm a little too high. I don't want the leash just around her neck. I want to do it around her shoulder as well. See if I can still tie it. Looks like I can. If I couldn't, I would just lower this grooming arm. And yeah, look, we've only got a tiny bit of this slip knot left to actually pull on it. And you know what? She still feels a little too wet, so I'm gonna grab another towel. I just felt her chest and it feels really wet, so we'll rub over her one more time. Sometimes I'm tempted to skip this second towel, but it gets the water off so much better. I end up saving a lot of time. Hang on, Kiki. Especially when they're being wiggle worms like Kiki, there's a good chance she's not going to want me to blow dry her face very well. So it's important that I towel dry it off as well as I can. She's letting me towel dry it pretty easy, although still wiggling a little bit. But blow drying is a lot scarier. It's a lot louder. It's a weird pressure. It's kind of a weird thing that the dogs don't really experience too much unless they stick their head out the window, but even then it's very different. Okay. Alright, that's as dry as she's going to get. This towel only has a little bit of water on it. I'm going to set it on my drying cage. I'll reuse that towel. And now we get to blow drying. The blow dryers are very loud, so I put in these earbuds to give myself a little bit of hearing protection. dogs. Stick these in Kiki's ears to give her some hearing protection. Okay. Now, if your volume's up, I would turn it down right here. The blow dryer is pretty loud. I'm going to use the blow dryer on high to get her body and her legs all dry, but I don't want that high pressure air to be on her face, because I especially don't want high pressure air to get in her ears, and her eyes, her nose, or her mouth. So I'll turn it down to half speed, and then I will still, for some parts, work far away, unless she's holding still, in which case, if I feel like I can safely do it, I'll bring the dryer right against her skin, and we'll get her dry that way. Let's get started. so cute. I love the way the fur looked when it's all getting blown back from the front of her face. Cutie. Okay, we are all done with the dryer. She actually did pretty good. She wiggled a bit on her face. She really doesn't like when I try to restrain her. That's when she's like, no, let go of my face. But she let me dry most of it pretty easily. So we're all good to go there. Let's head back up front and we'll finish her haircut. Okay. You. Gorgeous, Kiki. I love her beard, it's beautiful. The little color change where it goes from black to white underneath. She's a really cute dog. Okay, let's get her haircut finished. We're gonna do the number 7 on her back, the top of her head, and her ears, and we'll blend in her skirt. Let's go ahead and grab that 7 blade. I'm gonna start on top of her head. Trying to be very careful not to accidentally shave her eyebrows. Shave her ears. When I'm shaving the dog's ears, especially with the number 7 blade, I make sure that the edge of my clipper is always going away from the edge of the ear, never towards it. If I'm going towards it, that's how the skin gets between these teeth, and that's how I cut the dog's ear. So as long as I'm going away from the skin, from the edge of the skin, I'm safe and I won't cut the dog's ear. Wait, wait. Wait. It's such a wiggle worm. He's such a wiggle worm. Makes it a little tough. Not. Okay. Got around her ear shaved pretty well. Now I'm going to shave under her eye. I'm going to hold the eyebrow up so I don't accidentally shave any of it. Then I'll hold her beard forward so I don't accidentally shave any of it. Do the same thing on the other side. Start with her ear. Wait. Okay, Kiki. Good girl. Wait. My finger keeps touching her ear canal on the inside. I think that's what making her shake her head. I'm tickling the inside of her ear on accident. Good girl. Wait. Come on. Go ahead and pull these cotton balls out. The left one's tiny bit dirty, but not bad at all. I bet one cotton ball will be enough to get her dirtier ear, the left ear clean. So that really means it's not dirty. If one cotton ball can get it clean, it's a really clean ear. Okay. Whoa, almost dropped my clipper. Hang on. Hang on, little arm. Oh my goodness. Hold still, Kiki. Hold still. Good. Good girl. Kiki, come on. Hold still, wiggle arm. My goodness. Okay, I've got the beard hairs pulled forward. Now I can trim the rest of these. Wait. Kiki's so funny. She'll get into those weird positions where she's kind of like, she's resisting and pulling away and trying to get me to stop what I'm doing. And she found herself into where she was sitting, stretched out in a really funny position. But as soon as I stopped doing what I'm doing, she's like, okay, cool, I can stop fighting you. And she stood right up. So I tricked her a little bit. I acted like I was done, and then she stood up, and then I was able to finish shaving that spot that I was working on. Silly Kiki. Silly Kiki. Okay, her face and her ears and her neck are all shaved now. So I can loosen this leash and I'll shave her back and I'll blend it into her skirt. Back brush. She's really skinny and the hairs are getting stuck in all the crevices of her back and her shoulder blades and her spine. So I'm needing to back brush these areas to get the hairs to lift up so that I can shave them all evenly. Okay, let's come around this side. I want to get everywhere that the leash is sitting. That way I can have that part done and I can tighten the leash back up. This is not the best brush. I prefer to back brush with this little one. Wait. Hang on, Kiki. Almost done on this leash. Need her to stand up so I can make sure that her skirt is blended evenly. Okay, now I can tighten this leash back up. That way she won't walk towards the edge quite as much. And then we can finish blending in her back into her skirt now. Stay. Okay. All right. Our back is shaved. Kind of uneven. Okay, that looks good. All right, now we're going to trim our feet, brush out our legs. Let's see. Got a few little tangles in her skirt. Stay. It's okay, Kiki. Stay. Hang on, Kiki. Hang on. Wait. Come here. Don't go so close to the edge. Stay. No. Wait. Okay, skirt and legs and feet are all done. Maybe. Better check the armpits. I'll have to loosen this for this armpit. Okay, now the skirt's done, and we can finish her face. I'm going to start with trimming her ears, the outside edge, trying to trim all the hairs that are growing past the outside edge. Wait. Ears look good. Let's do her eyebrows. Wait. Trim the sides first. They just about blend in with where I shaped the side of the cheek. And then I flip my shears around so that the curve gives me the right. Oh, hang on, Kiki. Goodness gracious, girl. Okay. And now I'm going to take just a little bit more off the sides. I'm going to do it like this. Okay. Show a little bit more below your eyes. Now I'll get the corner of her eyes with a diamond. The other side at the same time. Think. Right eyebrow looks pretty good. Go ahead and get the left now, do the same thing. good. She's got a little bit more hair. It's diamond. Eyebrows are a little uneven right now. The owner didn't really want me to trim anything, but I'm going to take just a tiny bit off of this one side because it's longer than, her left side was longer than her right side. We want them to be the same length. So trim just a tiny bit. Now they're the same. Okay. Brush out her beard one more time. Use the leave-in conditioner. See, she opened her mouth up a little bit right there. She's trying to tell me that she doesn't want me to brush out her beard. So I just slow down a little bit, get her to close her mouth, and then I can keep going. Now that it's brushed, double check with the comb. Looks like we're good to go. So now I'll trim the hairs at the front of the lips. Sit. Wait. Trim the hairs on top of her nose. Okay. Now we can comb her beard down. Stand up for me, baby. Wait. And now we're going to trim just a little bit off the bottom of her beard. Hang on just 1 minute. I'm going to check in my next customer.
Where's the time?
Give me just 1 second.
Sure.